Hello, wise learners at home. Good morning. Here is the lesson notes for JSS3 by Teacher Gloria Okpe. Subject: Civic Education. Topic: Election and electoral bodies in Nigeria. Set objectives. At the end of the lesson, you all should be able to define election and electoral bodies, list electoral bodies in Nigeria, state functions of electoral bodies in Nigeria. Our instructional aid, we are going to be using our textbooks. How many of you participated in the last general election? Alright, once you are at the age of 18, it is your civic right as a citizen to go out and cast your votes whenever election is being conducted in the country. Election is one of our rights as a citizen. It is our right to go out and vote and also be voted for. Whenever election is being conducted, it is expected that you go and exercise your franchise. Is that clear? Alright, now let's look at election and electoral processes. Election and electoral bodies. Election is a formal and organized choice by vote of the person into a political office or other position. An election is a formal group decision-making process by which a population chooses an individual to hold public offices. It is also a process in which people vote to choose a person or group of people to hold an official position. An election is that process whereby people go out when it is time for election to choose their representative. Like you have the president, people that will represent us in the country. You have the president, you have the governors at the state level, you have the senators, you have members of both the federal and state house of representatives. Exactly. Now, electoral bodies, on the other hand, is a body charged with overseeing the implementation of electioneering process of any country. It is a body that determines how election is conducted. Do you understand? Now let's look at a list of electoral bodies in Nigeria. Basically, we are going to be discussing two electoral bodies in Nigeria. One, you have the Independent National Electoral Commission, known as INEC. You have the State Independent Electoral Commission. Now let's look at the functions of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, was established by the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to, among other things, organize election into various political offices in the country. The function of INEC, as contained in Section 15 of the 1999 Constitution, include the following. 1. The body is expected to register all eligible voters and political parties before the conduct of any election. 2. To organize, conduct, and supervise election to all elective offices in the country. 3. They are to register political parties in accordance with the provision of the Constitution and Act of the National Assembly. 4. It is their duty to monitor the organization and operation of political parties, including their finances. 5. They are to educate the electorate before the conduct of election about party logos and the way to vote. They also have the right to delegate powers to all resident electoral commission. And then finally, they have the right to divide the country into some electoral districts known as constituencies. Is that taken? All right, let's look at function of State Independent Electoral Commission. This body is usually consists of members who are appointed by the governor of the state with confirmation by the State House of Assembly. The State Independent Electoral Commission is a body that is usually consists of members who are appointed by the governor with confirmation by the State House of Assembly. This has to do with the state alone. Do you understand? It has to do with the state alone. Any election that has to do with the state, like the local government election and so on, this body is in charge with is charged with the responsibilities. And one of their function is to organize, take, and supervise all elections to local government councils within the state. Do you understand? All right. With all of that being said, who can define election? All right, who can list the electoral bodies in Nigeria and state some of their function, at least two functions? Okay, any question? All right, before we go, let me briefly summarize the lesson. I told you that election is a formal and organized choice by vote of the person into political offices. And then electoral bodies, on the other hand, is charged with overseeing the implementation of electionary process of any country. I also went ahead to list electoral bodies in Nigeria, where I told you that the Independent National Electoral Commission is one, and it is the major electoral bodies that we have here in Nigeria. I also said that the State Independent Electoral Commission has to do with what? With the state, with it has to do with local government councils within the state, election that has to do with the state. Do you understand? All right, and I told you that one of the functions of the Independent National Electoral Commission is to organize election in the country. That is their major function, to organize election in the country and to also supervise election, to register eligible voters, to register political parties, to monitor the organizations and operation of political parties, to educate the electorate. The electorate are people that goes out to vote. They also have the right to divide the country into some electoral districts known as what? Constituencies. Do you understand? Now here is your homework. You are to state the need for free and fair election in Nigeria. You are to state the need for free and fair election in Nigeria. When we come next, we are going to talk about electoral malpractice in Nigeria and how to prevent electoral malpractice in Nigeria. When we come next, I told you that we are going to talk about electoral malpractice in Nigeria and how to prevent electoral malpractice in Nigeria. Thank you and have a lovely time reading your books. Have a nice day.